Maybe there is an aligned way of connecting the inside and outside of your business. So there is a more equal ebb and flow for you and for the people coming in. So they come in, but they also stay in orbit. They're not leaving, you're retaining. Retention is like this magic metric that people forget about. And it's really what keeps your business successful long term. With this little Polly Pocket size exercise, you can actually start to tune into what is your retention like? Yeah, you work with an amazing client, but do they stick around? You have people coming into your audience, but are they still there in 6 months or a year? Or are you changing so frequently that you're losing the people that you attract? Welcome to Side Note, the podcast, where we explore the intersection of business and intuition. I'm your host, Samantha Fackler, a Fortune 100 marketing advisor turned leadership coach who has worked with over 100 companies across 13 years and counting. And yes, I also keep crystals on my desk. I love astrology, and I'm a trained Reiki master. So I see the connections that other people miss. Join me for conversations that'll change how you think about business, life, and everything in between. Hello, and welcome to the show. I'm Samantha Fackler, your host, and today I was thinking about this episode and I was like, what if we combined my energy healing background and my work as a business coach and just put it in a little pretty bow episode for you? So today we're going to be looking at this concept of visibility. How do people actually perceive your business? I think sometimes we get so caught up because we're inside of it. And it's like, can you actually see your business the way that other people see it? And can we actually bring in some energy healing practices to your business? Now, I remember I got this idea because I was getting my eyebrows done for my eyebrow lady. And she was like, I just met with an energy healer who did an energy healing practice on my business. And she said it was the funniest thing because the clients that came in the next day, she had one that said her walls looked brighter. She had another client that said her energy felt like great and aligned and had like such a fun client session when typically it's just like she would go in for a service and leave. And I started thinking about this. This was about 6 months ago now. And I started playing with energy healing practices and my business to see if it could work. And what I noticed is that it totally does. So we're going to go through a couple of things. One, to kind of see like, how are people actually perceiving your business? And is there a difference between how you see it and how other people see it? But also, can we bring in energy clearing to this practice and experience so that we can not just understand if there's an imbalance happening, but we can actually correct it and correct it in a way that is super aligned and not doing 1,000 different tactics, right? Because I think we tend to get lost in that too. I had this moment in like December of last year, and I felt like I was firing on all cylinders. I had so much marketing going out. My life was busy. Like I had a ton of travel. My husband and I bought a house. In December, I basically hit a wall and I got really sick. But that huge pause allowed me to do exactly what I'm going to walk you through in this episode. And that is really taking a breather to see, like, should I be doing all this? Is all this marketing that I'm churning out even worth it? Can I take a step back and look at things with really clear eyes? And so that's what we're going to do today. It's not a guided meditation. You can be listening to this on a walk or out and about, whatever you're doing. So there's 3 keys to this. The first one is really tuning in to this perspective of looking from the outside in. Because if you think about what you're doing day in and day out, you're doing a lot of stuff. You wake up, you probably have a million things on your brain. For a moment, I want you to pretend that all of that, you just get to set that aside on the shelf. You can line up that shelf however you want, but just put each thing on there. All of the things that are typically on your plate, so that you're just already feeling a little bit lighter. Imagine that those layers of responsibility have come off your shoulders. They're set to the side. Now I want you to visualize this. Imagine that you're actually stepping out of your own skin for a moment. So you're actually stepping outside your body. You're there to the right. You're not going anywhere. You're alive. You're breathing. But you're kind of this other floaty being to the left. And you all of a sudden have this superpower and you're able to change bodies. Ooh, fun. Little sci-fi moment here, okay? Play with me here. So let's say all of a sudden you see like your ideal dream client. Like this is the person you had in mind when you started your business or when you landed on your core offer. You were like, that is the person that, I get to change their life. I get to impact them with whatever I do. I want you to imagine that you actually step into their shoes. And that requires you to think about their shoes. Are they wearing heels? Are they wearing Birkenstocks? Are they barefoot in the grass? Whoever they are, imagine that your feet literally slip into theirs and you're in their skin now. And I want you to imagine that now you're looking at your business, but through this client or customer's eyes. What do you notice? Imagine that you come across a post on LinkedIn or Instagram. Notice how they react. For example, I'm going to pretend that I'm my ideal client and I come across a reel of mine. Oh, okay. She is talking about brand or marketing or being an entrepreneur with sanity and some freedom. Interesting. Now let's pretend I go a click deeper, right? So maybe I start to follow the business or sign up for a newsletter. Okay. Oh, now I'm getting that newsletter. What's in that? Oh, interesting. Okay. She also has a podcast. Her newsletter talks about this. So I want you to do this for your own business and start to go through all the things that you're churning out, but from the eyes of the customer and client. Now I want you to imagine that you step back out. So you're not interacting with your business. You're just in that client's body, still in those Birkenstocks or heels. What do you notice? Does it feel like you, or does it feel like what you're putting out there doesn't accurately reflect your magic? And when I say magic, I mean that transformation that you provide for people, the magic of that light bulb moment that customers or clients get when they actually work with you in some way. If this ideal client or customer can't pick up on that magic the first time that they interact with something that you put out there, we have what's called a disconnect. Now, it's completely normal. What is that disconnect? Is it that maybe your expertise isn't really out there? Is it that your stuff just kind of looks generic or sounds a little vanilla? Again, we're just observing. You don't have to judge it. This is completely normal, and every single business in the world goes through this. But now I want you to think, okay, as this ideal client or customer, what do I want to see? I know that my ideal clients and customers, they want to see something different. They want to see something that they haven't seen before. They want to see things that catch their attention and they're like, oh, I want to learn more about that. This feels like she is speaking directly to me. It's almost a little freaky. Is she in my body? I don't know. Hey, yo, I am in your body right now. So this exercise is so powerful because it's going to show you those disconnect points. Those disconnect points are not some sort of like poison that you have to freak out about. It is simply an opportunity, like a door opening for you to walk through, for you to see, okay, how can I make this connect better? How can I articulate myself better? How can I up the level so that my ideal client and customer immediately knows my value? Now, the second step to this, which might make this a little easier to see if you're having trouble, is to now step back. So let's pretend that we're zooming back into our bodies. We're leaving our customer or client alone, ditching those Birks or heels. All our responsibilities are still to the side on that shelf, but we're back in our bodies. Now I want you to hold out your hands, two hands kind of like cupped in your lap. Of course, if you're driving, please don't do this. I want you to imagine that all of a sudden your business shrinks to like a Polly Pocket size and it's right in your palms and you can view all the energy going in and out of it. You can see it almost like they're little like fairy lights going in and out. Or if you prefer something more earthy, you can imagine like almost like ants or people going in and out, right? All in the middle of your hands. And you can see you maybe on the left side, you're creating all this stuff, you're working with clients, you're pushing out products. And then there's kind of this middle space, which is more of your business. That's almost like the exchange. That's people going in and out. And then on the right side, people are kind of coming in and out like waves, ebbing and flowing. And then I want you to imagine that you take a big, deep breath. You exhale, and there's this white light that moves through the business, and it really starts to make it feel a little lighter, a little easier. It reduces the friction for all this movement going in and out of it. All of a sudden, these waves become a little bit more graceful in and out. And you on this left-hand side of it are actually holding it with ease. You're actually doing less. You're not churning out as much. You're finding that there's more groundedness in operating your business. And if anything, you actually get to start ebbing and flowing in and out of it because it continues to operate and grow and actually glow with less of your energy directly going into it, trying to hold it up. And just hold on to this vision and see if anything comes to mind. Like, how can I make all of this easier? And then I want you to imagine this business continues to feel lighter in your palms and then gently back away. Let the whole thing dissolve, let your arms drop, and then just come back. And now I want you to just think about how that feels for a moment in your body. Did it make you think of anything new? Right? Because when we're in this kind of grounded state and we're doing practices like this, a lot of breakthrough ideas can come through. And it also allows us to pull out of our business, which is so important because it allows us to get a more holistic and balanced point of view on how our business is really operating. So these first two exercises are really looking from the outside in to our business. You've seen probably some disconnects. You've probably noticed when it was that Polly Pocket size that maybe you actually can do less. Maybe there is an aligned way of connecting the inside and outside of your business. So there is a more equal ebb and flow for you and for the people coming in. So they come in, but they also stay in orbit. They're not leaving, you're retaining. Retention is like this magic metric that people forget about. And it's really what keeps your business successful long term. With this little Polly Pocket size exercise, you can actually start to tune into what is your retention like? Yeah, you work with an amazing client, but do they stick around? You have people coming into your audience, but are they still there in 6 months or a year? Or are you changing so frequently that you're losing the people that you attract? Right? So there's kind of two sides that are coming up here from a business perspective. One, you want to be attracting the right people who immediately understand what you do and your value and your magic. You want them to build that loyalty and trust so that they're not just attracted and something is sparked and that light bulb moment goes off, but that they're there for your business. They're, let's call them a community member. Even if you don't have a community, every single business has a community of customers and clients, both active and inactive, right? Those are your people that are out there saying like, hey, you should check out this person, right? They become your evangelists. And that's how successful businesses grow, is that they're able to do this with people. This is a people to people type of dynamic that we're talking about. And I think every day entrepreneurs get caught up in like, what should I post? And is my Instagram strategy like popping off? Are my reels finally going to go viral? That shit doesn't matter to an extent. If you're getting caught up in that, I challenge you to come back to this core stuff that we're talking about. Come back to like, how are people actually perceiving you? Not just for that one reel or post that you've rewritten the caption for 6 times over, but how are people actually perceiving your business? And can you see that? And then how is your energy affecting the business? And how are people's energies affected by your business? And the third key piece here, which is from the inside out. And this is often what kind of solves the disconnect problems. For me, I'll give you an example before we walk through it. For me, after I had this pause moment in December, I was like, I got to work on my energy. I came back to myself. I played piano. I read a bunch of books. I needed to believe that I could reach this next level in 2025, the level that I really wanted to bring my business to. I'm going to leap forward. I'm going to make at least 100K more than I did last year. And I know I can do it. I am going to launch a signature program that I feel so confident in, something that feels so aligned with me and what I really loved to work on with people. And I really got close to my differentiators. And this was a huge unlock. What I saw is that naturally my energy was enhanced. Like naturally, I brought energy healing to my business because I worked on allowing my X factor to be seen. And even though I thought I was comfortable with visibility before this, after I did this and I did similar practices like we're doing today, I really started to feel so freaking confident. And I started to see the momentum. And I started to get messages from people being like, hey, you like look brighter. Like you look like you're glowing on social media. Hell yeah. And I actually started to see that this stuff really works and people pick up on that. And I noticed older clients that I had worked with in the past, they were coming back into orbit. And I had new clients coming in. Also, intuitively, I knew exactly what I needed to do and when. And so, of course, this kicked off my whole rebrand, which is rolling out in the next few weeks. I'm so freaking excited. But like stepping back for a moment, like looking behind the curtain of all this stuff on the outside, it's because I got real with stuff inside of me as the entrepreneur. I took the time to understand what is my X factor. What's the X factor that I'm afraid to put out there? That's the key, right? Because we all have a couple of X factors, and sometimes we think it's one thing, but we actually need other people. We need a collaborative process to understand what that is. Now, the third key piece that I've been talking about here is identifying what is that X factor that you're afraid to put out there. Oftentimes, this is connected to your core offering that's probably going to make you more money than any of the offerings that you have to date. Or if it is an existing offering, it's the one that's going to like rocket forward like a racehorse. That's like a clear winner because ultimately we're tapping into like our deepest, most aligned place that allows us to provide such beautiful transformation for people. And you repave this path between that and between the people that you impact. And when you can repave that path, you know, just imagine this like really smooth road. It's easy, it's clear. If you feel like you've been trying really hard and it doesn't feel clear and it doesn't feel easy and you're not seeing that traction, you have to clear it. Otherwise, you're just going to be continuing to do the same stuff over and over, and it's not going to cut through. And so a good practice for this is talking to people and asking, hey, I would love to know, what's your perception of my business? I've been putting out so much for my business. Like, what do you see? Why I say it's a collaborative process is because sometimes exercises, one, of looking from the outside in, and two, shrinking everything to a Polly Pocket size, sometimes it's still hard to get out of our own heads. And that's when working with people is the key to unlocking how do you fluidly create this channel between you and your audience. Before I get into common questions and answers about this stuff, I created something specifically for this. It's called the Brand Edit. And over 4 weeks, we are going to do exactly what we've been talking about in this podcast episode. And that means that we are going to be looking from the outside into your business. So I'm going to be working with everyone, and it's a small group so that everyone has personalized attention. And we're going to be looking at like, what is your true niche? What is your X factor? And because you're in a group and it's a safe environment and everyone's a woman entrepreneur and you have me as a coach there, We're really going to pull out your X factor and we're going to help you articulate it, right? So that's the second week. The first week is understanding this foundational stuff and how can we bring you to an energy rich state. There will be guided meditations, there will be office hours, like it's a whole freaking deal. Week 2 is then how do you articulate this stuff that we pull out, like this magic, this light bulb moment type transformation that you provide. How do we articulate that? How do we position you so that when anyone stumbles across your stuff, they immediately know that what you do is different and they know why it's valuable. Week 3 is we start to get creative with this. We start to see how are the different ways that we can bring this out into the world. Because sometimes it's not just that you're going to post that one key positioning statement on an Instagram post or an email. It's so much more, right? We have these breathing, thriving businesses. So how do you roll this out across all your stuff? And how do you do it with visual language, right? So it's also looking at color psychology and the design that's in your business, because there's a wordless language with design. So we also need to look at how is all of this articulated through that piece. And then the 4th week, we are going to be talking about how to implement this to make it really easy. And we're going to do it step by step. And we're going to make a customized plan for every single person. I'm going to be working with you every single week and giving you personalized attention on all these steps so that I deeply, deeply understand your business and can help you pull out this X factor. And then I'll be working with you to see how you can start to roll it out so that all of a sudden those disconnects disappear. People understand you, your value, and they're like, oh my God, yeah, I'm in this. Buy immediately. And so the implementation of week 4 will be all about how do you reach that. Now, I believe so freaking much in these 4 weeks. Also, there's going to be a workshop from attorney Colin O'Brien about trademarks and protecting your business. Because what I see is that when people do identify their X factor or they do find that core program, they want to make sure that they protect whatever language they use for that. Then I'm also going to be bringing in designer Abby Lee. She's also an illustrator. And she's going to be talking about this design and wordless language piece. And how do you know what you need help with if you aren't a designer? She's also going to be talking about like words with design, right? Because a lot of entrepreneurs don't have design expertise. And if you do choose to work with designers, then it's like, how do I tell them what I need and make sure that they understand it so that they don't just design something pretty, but they design something that communicates this magic and makes me look different and stand out to the right people, right? So for example, if your ideal clients are in their 50s or 60s, you wouldn't want a super playful, bubbly brand that looks like it's targeting someone in their early 20s. So design is so important. Color psychology, typography, everything works together. So week 4, we're also going to be talking about that. And I'm going to bring in my designer for a Q&A. There is no pressure to do brand design. This is all about really getting your brand foundation and your emotions, your energy as an entrepreneur, really solidifying this for the next level, allowing you to step into that energy rich, momentum rich state for the next chapter to repave the future trajectory of your business. So through these 4 weeks, there will be a weekly workshop of 60 to 90 minutes. There will be office hours, so you can come with all your questions. You can get business coaching. You'll also get resources every single week. So really easy, really simple, like we're talking 3-step worksheets that just allow you to quickly get to the answer. Because as someone who's now worked with hundreds of women entrepreneurs, I have started to break down how I work with people into proprietary practices. An example of this is that a couple weeks ago, I had 3 client calls. All 3 of them, we worked on positioning. And, I went about those intuitively and how I would typically coach someone. But then I started to reflect back after each one. And I saw, okay, these are the 3 steps. And so now those 3 steps are in a resource for you to help you get to that positioning statement. And then, of course, we get to work together live on that because I want to make sure that every single person that joins the Brand Edit has that clear, unique transformative oriented positioning statement that people just immediately get. You'll also get a brand strategy deck, which is basically a home for all of the work that we're putting together so that you can take that to anyone that works in your business or on your business. Your team members, your designers, if you work with any in the future, if you were to work with a website developer, if you work with a social media person, a copywriter, a blog writer, whoever you work with, this is like that one core source of truth. And it has everything in it. This has been transformative for my business. And I've also taken this to over 30 brand designers, and all of them were like, holy shit, I wish all my clients brought me this because it would make everything easier. It does the job of communicating all this stuff so that you don't have to. The other huge bonus here is that I am bringing in my trusted network of designers. So if at the end of this, you're like, okay, the messaging is solid, I know my positioning and how to strategically articulate this, I know how to talk about my programs, I know how to talk about stuff so people freaking get it. But now how do I bring design a level up too? Because what I often see through this process is like, all of a sudden after these 4 weeks, you're like, boom, I'm in the next chapter, guns a-blazing, feeling good, so much joy, but I need a little help with the design portion because I'm not a designer. So if you're not a designer, you get access to my trusted network of designers and website developers, and they all have perks for the brand edit participants. So some of these people are actually offering like $500 off a design package, 10% off a design package, simply because you're part of the program. So that is pretty awesome and actually can pay for like the entire program itself, which is wild. I knew that because this is the first time that I am doing this with a group, that I wanted to make it super accessible. So in the future, I'm probably going to be charging like $1,500, $2,000 for this 4-week program. But for this first round, I'm only charging $187 per week for 4 weeks, which is insane because typically an hour of coaching with me is $500. And you're getting 4 workshops plus a graduation showcase where we all kind of like share different pieces of what we've learned and have this like beautiful wrap up ceremony. Plus you're getting the 2 guest workshops and the Q&A with my designer. You're getting 4 office hours. Plus I think I already added a bonus office hour. So you get 5 now because I am all about over delivering. You get a ton of resources, worksheets. You get this like key strategy deck that's going to grow with your business forever. And you get my personalized attention on every single step of this process. Like the value is insane. We start May 7th. If you join early, then you get additional time with me and in the community before we start. So you get bonus office hours until May 7th. You get bonus coaching with me. It's kind of crazy, but I'm doing it because it's the first time that I'm doing a group program. It's the first time that I'm going to be hosting this on Circle. You know, through this thing, you're going to have the ability to message me Monday through Friday with any questions that come up in between these sessions. You're going to get all the recordings and you get 6 months access to the recordings after. I am packing this thing with so much value, but I'm making it a low price. So I am also going to be asking you for feedback and, you know, how are you liking things? Are things transforming for you? If so, how? And I'm just pouring all of me into this and it feels so good because this is the stuff that I love to work with women entrepreneurs on. I love helping them see their own magic. And all of a sudden, it's like the lights turn on inside. And it's like, oh my God, those are the missing words. Oh, that was the missing link that I couldn't put my finger on. These are the things that I live for. They are why I created my business. They are why I have this podcast. So if this sounds like something you are interested in, join. We start May 7th. It goes till June 7th. Again, if you join early, you get more coaching with me. You get early access to the community and resources. There will be guided meditations and energy healing type practices throughout. And now I'm going to get into a few common questions. So, one is I don't have the time. And this is almost laughable because you think about how much time you are wasting right now on stuff that doesn't work, that goes out there and you hear crickets. That is wasted time. Again, if things aren't moving and grooving, if you're not on a smooth, clear, aligned path and seeing sustainable traction, you need to take a pause in order to pave that path for you so that you stop wasting your time on things that don't work. Second most common question, can't I just hire someone to do this? Well, that would be lovely. And yes, you can hire a coach, but you can't actually hire someone to give you some of these answers because they're inside of you. And so working with someone helps you pull that out. But for a coach to do all the work that we're going to do in the brand edit, that would probably be a high four-figure, if not a five-figure investment in order to get all the clarity that we're going to get in the brand edit together. So if you have another question about the brand edit, reach out. I'm active in the DMs on Instagram. I love getting messages. I read all of them. And if you follow my newsletter, you can just hit reply in an email to that. I genuinely want to help you wherever you're at. And I will tell you if it's not a fit for some reason, because there are only 10 spots in this program. And I want to make sure that those spots are filled with people that this is going to be truly transformative for. With that, thank you for listening. Again, my name is Samantha Fackler. You can find me on Instagram at growwith_Sam. And the brand edit starts May 7th. It goes through June 7th. It's 187 a week for 4 weeks. And you can explore the full curriculum and learn more at the link in the show notes. Bye.